Hello and welcome to JHouze Radio, where the man with the sexiest shirt, KJ, is ready to entertain you. And the man who you don't want to introduce to your mama, because we might have history, is your man, me, Los.
Is there ever a situation where anybody would want to introduce you to their mama?
No,
Would
I
there
mean,
ever
you
be?
know what it is? It's I always skew younger than I am, right? And most of my friends are like 10 to 20 years younger than me on average. So I have met certain people's moms and I've known their moms from the past. I'm like, oh my God, hi, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then my friends are like, how do you know my mother? And I was like, oh, we go way back. And I leave it there. Whether it's innocent or not, I just kind of like to mess with people's heads, you know,
Wow. He said we
because
just
I
leave
think it's
it
funny personally, you know. Kind of like when I used to drop off my goddaughter to school
there.
in the Bronco. Because first of all, you remember how loud the Bronco was with the exhaust and the motor and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big boy. That was a big boy.
And then I added these freaking the biggest speakers that could possibly fit into the factory holes in the Bronco.
Hmm.
I used to drop her off like playing YMCA or Macho Man or some kind of disco song just to
Oh my
like
goodness.
embarrass her. And what's even worse is she was in the back seat, and in the Bronco, the passenger has to get out, move the seat forward, and then she got out. So it was like a whole long process. And she'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed." And I loved it. Loved it.
Once again, thank you, Los, for doing the intro. This is J House Radio episode 104. We're going to be talking about Agatha all along, the first four episodes. And we're going to throw a few other interesting topics in there today as well. You know, some updates from the entertainment industry. Don't forget, if you guys are watching this live on YouTube and or on Twitch, but especially on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe so you guys can be notified whenever we go live or post any of the content. And if you listen to the audio version of this, don't forget to leave us a review. Always helps out. Um, so yeah, Los, how you doing? How you been? How's your week been going on so far? What's happening in the world of Los?
Uh Long week. I've have I mentioned this that I'm working on a wedding that I'm not going to be there?
You're working on a wedding, but you're not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to DJ a wedding, but I'm not going to be there.
Are you DJing it from their house and you're
No.
streaming the
Okay. So
video?
what happens is this couple is having a wedding and their venue is so small, they literally don't have room for a DJ. So I'm creating essentially 5 small mix files that they play at their wedding. So like I'm doing like the introduction and everything else all on an MP3 file. So I have their dinner music done, the welcome music done. I've done version 1 of their dance music, which I got to do version 2. So they're going to get 5 files at the wedding.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem. I can get I've done enough weddings and parties and stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what works. This, or this. But without being there and seeing the crowd, I don't know if I've hit the right tone.
That is true. It's hard to. I would imagine that it is hard to DJ like from another location because that's the whole vibe. I mean, that's the whole point of being a DJ is you get to feed off the crowd, like what they're feeling, what they're not feeling. If you're playing a certain song, you see certain people aren't dancing, like all right, maybe it's time to switch.
Right.
Switch the
Like
tempo.
I've DJ'd Zoom parties, right? And you get 16 across and it flips through and it flips through. So you can kind of see who's enjoying and who's not enjoying and what's working, what's not working. But I don't even have that. I'm not even DJing over Zoom. I'm just sending them files because I worked this one wedding, right? Where everything was hitting pretty good, right? But what really made the crowd go was New Jack Swing. Okay. You know what New Jack Swing is, right?
Yeah.
So, you play Poison, Motown Philly, and all the other ones.
Mm.
And that really got the crowd going. But if I had to do that remotely without looking at people, I would have only played Poison and then gone on to something else.
Yeah.
Right. And then the people wouldn't have had as much fun because that's what the crowd wanted, you know?
That
And
makes
even
sense.
worse, this married couple, well, this going to be married couple wants rock music. So I don't know how the rock music is going to hit and who's gonna like it and not like it, because the bride and groom may love it, but their wedding party may not. And they're like, yeah, put on Linkin Park, make sure you got Matchbox 20 in there. I want System of a Down. And I'm like, this is not wedding music. And then they throw in like, oh, also Pat Benatar. And you're like, Pat Benatar, System of a Down.
Oh yeah, some Beethoven as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Beethoven.
So that's sort of a little weird. And then they asked me to mix in 30 seconds of what's his name again? The damn Puerto Rican singer, not Daddy Yankee. Bad Bunny.
Bad
30
Bunny.
seconds of a Bad Bunny song and then go into the slow song for their dance. And I'm like, that's rather odd.
Talk about a challenge. You know, if you were to ever join a reality show about becoming a DJ and they put you through these weird challenges, that would be like a reality show challenge right there. Like that's what your task sounds like right now. Sounds like a reality show
I've
challenge.
actually auditioned for 5 pilots for DJ TV shows.
Really?
I've auditioned for 5 of them. Okay. 3 of them I got rejected because I was too old. They were looking for someone in their early 20s. They didn't want someone established.
Mhm.
You know what? They told me that straight up after our audition, but they're like, yo, you're really good.
Mhm.
And they were like, but you're not in the right age range. If we change things, we'll call you back. None of them call me back, which is fine.
Yeah.
Another one was like that they didn't like my setup because I use Tractor. And they're like, oh, we're getting sponsored by Pioneer and this, that, and the other thing. You'd have to buy all new Pioneer gear, and this is what we want you to own. Now, you've seen videos of DJs, right?
Yeah.
And you all see them with the same CDJs, right?
Typically.
Those things are $2,700 each.
Jeez.
And I
Wow.
DJ with 3 of them, 3 CDJs, and then a sampler. And the sampler is about the same thing, about $3,000. The mixer's another $2,000 to $5,000. So
Mm.
you're talking 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're talking like $12,000 to $15,000 of equipment
Jeez.
that they
You going
wanted for me. So that's one show. And another show, they were like, no, sorry, we're more American music focused than mixed. And
okay.
again, that's an answer I can understand, because whenever I DJ a strictly American or European based party, some of the filler is a little difficult for me to do
Okay.
because I'm used to doing for lack of a better term, a Spanglish party. So I know, okay, I can do these 3 merengue songs. I know that's going to kill me 25 minutes. I can do these 5 to 8 salsa songs, and that's a good 40 minutes. 2
Yeah.
bachata songs is 10 minutes. So like that's easily an hour and 10 to an hour and 20 minutes of my set.
Yeah.
So now when you go to American music, you don't really have songs that are like 7 minutes long, 8 minutes long. You have 3.5 or 2.5, and the songs that are 7 minutes long are like from the 60s.
Yeah.
And no one really cares what grandma likes. So it's a little more difficult in the filler, but I'm pretty well versed in most music,
Okay.
that it's okay. But I did one wedding where they wanted more of an R&B vibe, and R&B is my weakness in American music.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because I don't like a lot of 80s R&B.
Mhm.
Um, but I know a lot in 70s is more soul than R&B that's popular. 80s, I'm not great with that R&B because most of the parties I've DJ'd have never really wanted it or requested it.
Yeah.
90s, 2000 and on is fine. But the problem is once you hit 2008 and on, it's mixed with half hip hop. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want the hip hop part in it. So now my
Mm.
choice is, do I edit out the hip hop part? Do I look for a part that has the quote unquote no rap in it?
Mhm.
Which I've always hated. Um, and as I said, R&B's my weakness in DJing. Not that I can't do it. It's just
Mhm.
it's a little more effort for me. You know.
I feel you. I feel you.
So
Well, I mean, that's definitely going to be an interesting wedding gig. You know.
yeah, I mean they've liked what I've given them. They're like, oh, it's the perfect flow, it's the perfect timing, and it's great and everything else. And they
Yeah.
have this unique position in if they ever want to relive their wedding night, they can literally play the music from their wedding.
I'm trying to figure out my work life balance. Well, not really my work life balance. Well, yeah, my kind of my work life balance, but I'm also trying to figure out my balance between life and gaming. I'm trying, like, I'm getting to that point in my life where, like, I'm busy, I'm running, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm trying to figure out how, because, like, obviously I've been gaming since I was what, like, in diapers probably at this point.
Knee
Uh,
high to a grasshopper.
yeah, man, you know what I mean. I was literally was walking around with a baby bottle in my hand and my little Game Boy. Um, but yeah, I'm trying. Like, I think anybody who is a gamer, especially if like you're older now, you're an adult, you're like you got a 9 to 5, you got kids, whatever the case may be, trying to find that balance between like life and gaming has been challenging. And I
I
think that's kind of where I'm at right
I
now.
can tell you it's worked for a friend of mine.
What's worked?
He's literally scheduled it. He goes, and it's Tuesdays and Sundays. Tuesdays from this hour to this hour I game. Sunday from this hour and this hour I game.
Yeah.
And that's how he does it. And he has alternate nights. So like if he can't do it Tuesday, he'll do it Thursday. If he can't do it Sunday, he'll do it, like Tuesday and Wednesday. So like and it's pretty smart because
Yeah.
as an adult, it's easier to stick to a schedule than anything else.
That is true. That is true. You know what? I kind of started to pick up that the idea that you just mentioned. I have like a little note section in my iPhone where, my little daily things to do, grocery shopping, pay the bills, so on and so forth. I try to put like every other day or every third day, whenever I can, I'll say, all right, today I'm going to play Spider-Man for an hour. This day I'm going to play, Spider-Man again for like half an hour, and that's kind of like where I'm going. Plus, having a Steam Deck, like where I can game on the go, basically, has really helped out too. So having that flexibility of scheduling and gaming on the go whenever I can, whenever I have like few time, like a few minutes of free time, that's been helping. So it's kind of where I'm at right now, trying to find that balance, of gaming and such, especially since we have the podcast. We talk about games sometimes, so I want to try to stay on top of that too.
Yeah, I have a question for you about the issue that's going on right now with Amazon and with Steam Deck.
Okay.
Okay, so what's happening is, and it started with Amazon. So Amazon Kindle, people bought War of the Worlds, right? And
Okay.
then Amazon took it off certain people's Kindles because supposedly they bought it from Kindle, but it was an unauthorized copy of War of the Worlds, and Amazon's refusing to give a refund. And Steam has done that in the past with certain games, where they're like, you don't actually purchase the games, you purchase a license to use the games as long as they
Ah,
want you to use the games. How do you feel about that?
that is interesting. That's been a topic that's been going on in gaming for the past few years. It sucks, honestly. I think maybe last year, the Nintendo Wii eShop closed down. Like maybe I think last year or the year before. No, I think it was last year. And so anybody who has a digital version of a Nintendo Wii U game on their Wii, which I get it, them closing it because they're all in on the Switch now. But if you
Mhm.
still have a Wii and you want to play the digital version of Luigi's Mansion, if the Nintendo eShop closes, you don't have that license anymore. And some people have to realize, and it does suck, but just because you buy a game digitally doesn't mean you own it. Honestly, in a sense, just because you buy a game physically, in a sense, you don't really own it either, because all that disc is just a physical license. You know what I mean?
Well, no, actually, that's one of the things that PlayStation and Xbox particular spoke about, that if you buy a physical copy, you own the game, but you only own the version that is on the disc. So you know how
Yeah,
you download a game and then you get all these uploads.
yeah,
You They're licensing you the updates for free, but you only actually own the version you bought.
yeah. That honestly, yeah, that's basically what it is. Like if you have a game, let's say I buy God of War on PS5. I own that game. It's mine. I can play it whenever. PlayStation can't tell me that I can't play it. But if there is some kind of digital content or some kind of digital fingerprint that that has a grasp on that game, PlayStation can take that away at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still play God of War, but let's say you buy a digital like DLC for the game, like extra content. If PlayStation just says, "All right, the PlayStation Store is closed, it's done," that DLC you bought is gone now. You can still play the game, but you don't have that DLC.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, that's why I think digital. I think gaming preservation has been so big, especially not even just with gaming, but with film as well. It's been such a big topic over these years, ever since everything has gone digital, especially ever since COVID. Um, Digital preservation has been a big topic. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, these companies got to make money, and if they decide to close their digital storefront, there's nothing we can do about it. So the best thing I say is try to own as much physical media as you can. But for some people, they might not be able to. They might not have the money to buy the physical version because sometimes the physical version is more expensive, or it's harder to find, or they might not have the space. Me personally, any video game that I like and I want to keep as a collector's edition, I'll buy physical. Like I
Mhm.
have a few Batman games for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 that I will never sell because I love those games. And maybe one day I might want to replay it again on my PS5 or PS7, whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
those games hold a special place in my heart, so I would keep it physically. I will never sell it because I will never know if I ever want to go back to it or ever just want to look at the box and say, "Wow, that was a great game. Let me put it back on the shelf." I might not be able to buy that game because a lot of games for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation One, a lot of games that we love are hard to find. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like digital preservation and owning physical media as far as gaming and all that has is it's really been a big topic lately, and they're still trying to figure it out. These gaming industries, Xbox came out with a way of playing 360 and original Xbox games on their current Xbox console with like a fresh coat of paint, 4K resolution or maybe even 1080 at least, high frame rates, and you're playing a game that's over 10, 15 years old, and you can play it on your current console, and it looks good. So I definitely give props to Xbox for like finding a way to preserve their old games, and companies are trying. It's not going to be perfect, but companies are trying, honestly.
All right. One last question. Do you think that ROMs and emulators are the answer?
Um, well, emulators, I believe that is the legal way of doing it. I think, I believe ROMs is, I don't really, I don't really know how the whole ROM process works. I know how emulators work because I tried that on my Steam Deck. But ROMs, you're actually buying. Like, how does that work exactly? I
Okay.
forgot how ROMs
So
work.
let's use Spider Man as an example. So I have a PS5, PS4 emulator, and I can download a ROM, which is basically an image of the game on my machine, and I can play it. Now, it's legal for me to do that if I own a physical copy of the game, but it's not legal to do that if you don't. But also, nobody's policing it. So,
I mean, I guess if you own the physical copy, then yeah, go for it. But I mean, I feel like companies are now trying to pay attention to that. Look at Nintendo. You like if you post a video about a video game on YouTube, Nintendo is like ready to hunt you down, which has I think recently happened. I think a guy posted a video talking about a walkthrough for a video game, and Nintendo tried to sue him because they said, "Well, you're using our content." You're it's like, hey, listen, I'm just posting a video about the game, so you just got to be careful. Honestly,
well,
I,
Nintendo also shut down an emulator that someone was developing.
yes, I did hear about that. I forgot which one it was. It was a
Yeah, so
very
did
popular. It was a very popular emulator that's been used for years, very like a very long time. But yeah, you just got to be careful, man. Honestly, I do emulators. Like I said, on my Steam Deck, I don't do a lot of emulators because a lot of it can be a little tricky, especially when it comes to rights and so on and so forth. And companies can decide to say, you know what, I'm going to mess with you now just because I want to mess with you. Um, but I sometimes I'll just buy the classic collections on Steam or PlayStation. Like there's a Atari Classic Collection that just came out on PlayStation, I think fairly recently or last year or something like that. I bought it on PlayStation. I just play it that way, honestly. So Yeah, just honestly, I don't really know if there's any really 100% right way to go about it because there's always that silver lining. There's always that gray area when it comes to ROMs and emulators. Honestly, I feel like there's never a straightforward answer when it comes to that.
The only emulators I have used are the ones that do the old arcade games. Like the Miss Pac-Man from the arcade game and the
Yeah, same.
Pengo from the arcade game. So the only
Yeah.
ones I've ever used. But I haven't used one in over a decade because I can't find a stable one for my Mac. And if I do find a stable emulator, I can't find a stable ROM for that particular emulator.
Well, there is a. I don't know if you saw Apple actually has an emulator app on their on the iPhone. I think it might be on the Mac as well. I'm trying to see if I can find the name of it. Anybody in chat, if you know, oh, it's called Delta. Apple has officially launched this on their App Store, where you can actually put your emulators on this app, where you can play pretty much any old school game where you can find online from an emulator site. You can play it on your phone. I'm not sure if it is on the actual Mac, but I know it is on the iOS.
And you said it's called Delta?
Yeah, it's called Delta. I'm not. Let me check right now. See if
That's what I'm
it's.
doing right now. I'm a step ahead of you. Delta Game Emulator. Designed for iPad, not verified for macOS.
Okay. So yeah, you can do it on iPad or you can do it on the phone because I have it on my phone. I haven't added any emulators to it yet because I'm trying to find a good website to get emulators for iOS that'll work on my phone. So, but yeah, at least you do have that option for your iPad or for your phone, basically.
Yeah, it covers NES, SNES, N64, and Nintendo DS. So it's a Nintendo emulator.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's usually what I use my if I emulate anything, I usually do obviously the old school stuff. Like I said, I just if you have PlayStation Plus actually, and I think you do have PlayStation Plus, Los. If you have PlayStation Plus, they have an Atari Classic Collection available on PlayStation Plus. You can just download it right now. So I think it's like 3 collections of Atari games. I think so.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, interesting question though. Yeah, like I said, it's been a big topic in the gaming industry for a while now, and it's probably never going to stop going away. But I think it has gotten better. Game preservation has gotten a lot better over time. Other than that, let's go jump into some show topics real quick.
Okay.
James Earl Jones, literally in one of the best who have ever done it, has recently passed away. How I mean, let's see, how old was James Earl Jones when he passed away? He was 93.
Yeah.
93 years old, born 1931. Man, it's been the man's been around for a while. Some of the movies that he's known for, which is pretty much almost every movie that he's done. Coming to America, Conan, The Lion King, Sandlot, Field of Dreams, Robots, The Great White Hope, and the list just goes on and on and
You
on and
also
on.
forgot Mufasa?
Mufasa, yeah, I said Lion King. Yeah, I did put Lion King in there.
And also Coming to America. He played the king.
Yep, Coming to America. And James Earl Jones has a voice of magic. That man's voice will light up a room. What are some of your favorite movies or favorite roles that you've witnessed from James Earl Jones?
The
Los?
thing about James Earl Jones, I've never seen him in a bad film.
Hmm.
Well, I've never seen him give a bad performance, I should say.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Um,
You
I would
know,
have to
the funny thing about him is he's a stutterer.
really.
Yeah.
Wow, never knew that. Actually, I mean, I've had my moments, still do to this day. Never knew that.
Yeah,
Never
and
known
the
that.
thing is too, Disney has digitized his voice so he will forever be Darth Vader.
Really?
Yes.
I love that. I think it's perfect that they did that because who else are you gonna get to play that voice? That is an iconic voice. When you think of James Earl Jones, you think that's Darth Vader right there.
Well, the thing is more so I kind of think it's the image and the voice together make the character. That is one of the few parts that is you can't recast. There's nobody. Nobody who has that voice and that presence, and then you see it mixed with that image that could replace that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
if they told you, okay, be Darth Vader, but we want your regular voice, people will look at it and go, that's not Darth Vader. Even if you gave the performance of your life, because it is not James Earl Jones' voice, people will say that's not Darth Vader. You could recast Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, which they've done, Princess
Mhm.
Leia. People be like, oh, okay, there's a new one. Um, and people might say, oh, I understand. The original actors are too old or dead.
Mhm.
But James Earl Jones and Darth Vader, that's there is no substitute for that combination.
No, it's not. You can't. You can't do that. He actually one of my favorite performances is what he did on Broadway for the play Fences. I'm not sure if you ever saw or heard of the Broadway play Fences. They actually did a film with Denzel Washington. They brought that play to the big screen, Fences. And his performance as a father who is struggling in America, trying to make ends meet for his family. His performance that he has in that play was just powerful, powerful performance. But pretty much like you said, almost anything that he touches is powerful. For me, my first experience with James Earl Jones I would probably have to say, as far as I can remember, because I was young at that time, would probably be either between Star Wars and Lion King. I think that was my first time experiencing James Earl Jones. Like his voice as playing Simba's father, man. Oh, just like powerful, that man. Like that man can read me that man can read me a bedtime story and I would enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for me, it's he's been in so many other things for me over the years that it didn't like like if you talk about his voice, Darth Vader without a doubt. But if you talk about every other acting gig, he's been
Mhm.
in so many things that I've seen that he's just another great actor. He'll never be one particular thing to me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, yeah, I would hate to pigeonhole him as just, Mufasa, but I mean, some people that might be all they know. But for me, when I see him, I think of him in so many different roles because I've seen him in so many films. You know what I mean? So
We've also lost two other actors. Um, Chris Christopherson, which is Whistler from the Blade movies.
yes, I saw that yesterday, and that blew my mind.
He died
That
September
blew my
28th.
Man.
And here's another one for people. For a lot of people, they're like, oh, whatever, it's him. But for me, it's different. John Amos. He was the dad on Good Times.
Yes, I saw that too. No,
He was
that's not.
McDowell's in Coming to America.
Yes, that was not a whatever for me. When I saw that, I was like, no, no, like, man, 2 black kings, man, we lost within a
Yeah,
month.
not only that, he was also the old Kunta Kinte in Roots.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, man. Jeez.
So
I
that,
mean, granted, these men have lived long lives. It's not like
yes,
they died young in the 20s and 30s. These guys live long lives until they're, well, 80s, almost 90 years old. It's sad to see them go because they had, especially as being like a black kid coming up in the hood, watching like other black men and fathers and stuff in films, just looking up to these guys. It's like I grew up on these men. Like I watched these guys when I was in my tidy whities, and they were such a big part of my home when it came to watching a lot of black film.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So to lose these guys, it sucks. It hurts because it makes me think, what is the next, like, who's next coming up? Like, who's the next black strong actor that's gonna like hold that mantle, or at least who are they gonna pass down the torch to? Um, I don't know yet. There are a few candidates coming up in the acting business that's doing some things, but man, like to lose those guys, it hurts. It really does
Well,
hurt.
the thing for me about John Amos is, and then we'll move on to other subjects, quickly. So don't worry, we won't just be talking about people's lives and death.
Mm.
Um, the thing about John Amos is he usually played a father and an active father. And Hollywood has a tendency to show black men as dismissive fathers or absent fathers. So the
Yeah.
fact that this one actor, so many people can say, "Oh, he was a dad on Good Times. He was a dad on Coming to America. He was a dad in this. He was a strong male figure who always try to show a character with values, and guaranteed he lost a lot of roles because that's what he was looking for. But
Yeah.
the fact that he can represent that, you know, people are like, oh man, because if you look at almost every obituary about him, people always go the dad from Good Times, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
people remember him as that.
That's true. That's true.
The only other actor who's still alive who can say that is Avery Brooks from Star Trek, where he played a single dad,
Mm.
you know. Um, so it's interesting. And then you have Chris Christopherson, who was a country singer and an actor. I knew him as an actor. I didn't know he was a singer until I looked up his obituary.
Yeah, I did not
And
know
my
he was.
wife, on the other hand, knows him as a singer, not as an actor.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never knew he was a singer. Never knew
Yeah,
that. Wow.
country music.
Interesting.
That's why we don't know.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, sucks to lose some great men. May they rest in peace. They definitely left a major mark on our lives for sure.
Yeah. And on a positive note, um, oh, Jimmy Carter is 100 years old now.
Really? Wow.
Yes, he's in very bad health.
Really?
But he made it to 100.
Mm. Wow, man. I guess in some senses that could be a blessing, for sure.
Uh,
Could be a blessing.
for me, I don't want to be in a wheelchair, not in my right mind. You know, I'd rather be dead personally because I always want to be remembered as a strong person. Even though, like, think about it, there are people who, your grandmother, your great uncle, or whatever, who even though they're like 80, 90 years old, they're still walking around and they still have their head together, and you can still have conversations and joke with them, and that's what you remember. Like my
Yeah.
grandmother was bedridden for the last 18 years of her life, and she passed away. It was sad. I was upset, but I wasn't able to have a conversation with her for the last 18 years of her life, and she lived to be 102.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
leaving the retirement home, I don't mind so much because there's a whole bunch of widowers there, and we're about the same age, so that's good.
Listen, we're both going to
Nah,
be
but
in the retirement
yep,
home doing JHouze Radio episode number like 1045. Okay.
2090
Two.
flashback to PS5.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JHouze Radio. Me and Lot's gonna be talking about the AARP discount they just came out with. Man, I get discount on PS27. Los,
And all of a sudden, you turn old and southern. That's the part that cracks me up.
hey man, for some reason when I turned like 75, I picked up the old Southern accent from my mama's side of the family because they all from the South. They from
But you know
Georgia.
what though? That little southern draw comes out every now and then from you, and it's
Yeah,
a
I
couple
know.
words. I remember one time I asked you, I was like, "You have any family from the South?" You're like, you looked at me like sideways. You're like, "Yeah, why do you ask?" I'm like, "Oh, because it comes out every once in a while."
Yeah, it
And you
does.
never realized that it did.
Yeah, I never catch it. I feel like everybody who always talks to me or hears me say something like, "Hey, what was that twang about? What twang? What you talking about?" You know. Um, but yeah, that's where we're going to be, guys. So look forward to episode 1245. We're going to be probably not 1000, probably a little bit more than that, like
Probably like
3000.
1,345.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we're going to be in the retirement home, recording live for the retirement
Still
home.
arguing about Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah, still talking about how lightsabers make me feel happy. You know. We just took this in a
Oh my
different
god! Thank God this is being recorded. I think I'm gonna make that your new text tone. Lightsabers still make me feel happy. Oh, there's Keith sending me a text.
Oh man, jeez Louise. So yeah, moving on to the next topic. We are going to jump into what we are officially here for, and that is Agatha All Along, our mid-season review. I think we're up to 4 episodes right now, right? I think.
Yes.
All right. So, Los, what do you think so far? Let's just jump straight in. I mean, we're halfway through. What's your overall, on the surface, thoughts on Agatha Hartman?
Better than I expected. When you told me we are going
Surprise!
to review that just from the trailer, I was like, oh my God, I was dreading it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So dreading it. But it's better than I thought. It's
Okay.
one of these shows that I can review and not feel tortured, you
Wow.
know?
I am very surprised because honestly, I was watching the show up to episode 4, and I'm like, Los is gonna tell me he hates this show.
No,
Like,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I can't say that I like it, but it's watchable. It's entertaining. It's better than I thought. I just their imitation of the Wizard of Oz is I don't want to say cliche, but it's just kind of a little like, oh, okay, they're following the Wizard of Oz, but they're doing it well. So, and the actresses surprised me. The lead, hold on, let me get her name. Um,
Kathryn
Kathryn
Hahn.
Hahn
Yeah.
has a very uneven performance, but I think she's doing it more to show that she's a little crazy.
Yes, I love that though. Yeah.
But everyone else I think is great. And Legion, it's a little more than mid. So it's more than mid, but more like, not
Kinda like
quite like if you're going to Starbucks, it's not quite a venti. You know what I'm trying to say?
it's not quite a venti.
Yeah. It's a little more than a grande, like a grande plus.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's good. It's better than I thought. And the end credits, I do like that they show a lot of paintings and videos and clips from movies all
Yeah.
about witches.
I
They even
love
have a
that.
clip from The Craft.
Yeah, I saw that. They even had a clip of Lisa from The Simpsons dressed up as a witch.
Yeah.
I love that one. I like that Marvel does that with their TV shows. Like they always have like that little, like towards the end of the series or end of the episode, they have like 5 minutes of just random just scenes or B roll that has something to do with either that episode or just the show in general. I love that. I love that Marvel does that.
The one thing I didn't like is forgive me if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, is Sashir Zamata. Um I didn't like the her makeup and her piercings and stuff. I think that just took away from her beauty. You know? That's
Okay.
probably my only real complaint about the show.
Okay.
Um the rest is and the character teen,
Mhm.
first so annoying, but as the show goes on, he grows on you.
Yeah,
So,
I 100% agree.
like episode 1, I was like, "Oh, why is he talking?" But then as the show went along, he got more and more interesting and he seemed to mature into the
Yeah.
part. So, that's probably my 2 gripes. 3 gripes, including follow the yellow brick road, the Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to say, I pretty much kinda share your same sentiment with the show, honestly. Definitely did not like Teen at all. He was very annoying. It's just extremely annoying. I did not know why he was even there. But I don't wanna say he's growing on me, but I'm tolerating him a little bit more, only because
No,
it's like he's
he's
there.
grown on me, and the reason why he's grown on me is because he's doesn't seem like the odd man out now. Now he seems like he's part of the group. So now he adds to the ensemble. So
Okay.
that's why he's become better for me in the show because he just doesn't stick out. Because initially it was just like, this annoying kid who's got to like video chat with his boyfriend or whatever. And it's just kind of like, I was like, nobody cares. And
Yeah.
then episode 2, he got a little better. Episode 3, he got a little better. Episode 4, he seemed to fit in. And so that's why that character is, it's like they made him fit better into the story. So he made him feel necessary and he made him more likable because he's necessary. Is he
Okay.
my favorite character? Absolutely not. You know,
Who is your favorite character? Do you have
uh,
one?
Elian, the one who plays Alice Wu Gulliver.
Really? Why so?
Yeah, because I've met a lot of women who are like that,
Okay.
and I think the performance is spot on for women who have hippie parents or rock star parents or parents who like are party goers and
Yeah.
their kids turn out that way. And because I've seen real people like that, that's kind of why I like her. And it's
Okay.
not of like, oh, my favorite character. It's just more, I feel like she's the most genuine character.
Okay.
My
Interesting.
favorite performance is by Aubrey Plaza. Man, does she play a good psycho.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. She like with her, you just never know what she's gonna do. You never know what she's gonna do, and like the entire like almost every time you see her on screen, I keep thinking to myself, "Yo, she crazy. Something's literally wrong with this woman." Like I don't even know. It's like you just never know what to expect from her. But
And the sad part is, in our single days, if we would have met her at a bar, we'd have been like, she crazy, but she kind of hot. You know. But what I also did like is in the first couple episodes, every time she would say goodbye to Agatha.
yeah,
She'd be like, "Te veo," and I was like, that's an interesting choice
yeah, it is interesting. It is
because
interesting.
depending on the inflection, it either means I see you, te veo, or I'll see you later, te veo.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I thought that was interesting that she said that, honestly. I mean, and I don't is she Hispanic? I don't know if she's Hispanic.
you know what? I'm on IMDb, Audrey Plaza. Let's find out. I don't think she is. I think she's like a whole mix of stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely probably a mutt for sure.
Yeah, probably Italian. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's from
Um,
Delaware.
from Delaware. I would have to say my favorite character would have to be Agatha, only because I love Kathryn Hahn. I think she is just chef's kiss amazing. I've seen her in a few TV shows. Like I said before, she's done a lot of voice work. Seen her in a few TV shows, seen her in a few movies.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who were we talking about? I blanked out for a second.
Kathryn Hahn. I think she's my
Okay.
favorite character. She's my favorite character out of everybody in the show, only because I'm a little biased towards Kathryn Hahn. I mean Agatha. I'm a little biased toward her as an actor because I just think she's amazing. I just think her range as an actress just goes so far. It's so
But I
limitless.
also don't think that she brings a good range to this show. I think she was better in Scarlet Witch.
I agree. I actually do agree. I do agree with you on that one. I mean, I think the last episode, episode 4, we started to see a little. We started to see some emotions from her a little more than usual, especially towards Teen. And we're not going to go too crazy with spoilers, guys, only because it's halfway through the season. But we'll talk about some of the episodes without giving away too much. Um, but yeah, I think for her range as far as like just her character in general stretched a little bit. I think as the episodes go on, you see her range stretch just a little bit over time. But like I said, I just think I'm just a little bit biased because it's Kathryn Hahn. So she's my favorite character for sure. I think my least favorite character is, and probably only because we don't really know much about him. It's honestly it's Team. It's the other way for me.
No,
I'm
actually,
not crazy
my
about Team.
my least favorite character. Hold on, let me go back to the page. Is uh Patty Lupone, who plays
Oh,
Lila.
Lila, yeah.
Yeah, just because not connecting with her.
Yeah,
And again, I don't hate her performance or anything else. She's my least liked because I feel the least connected to her. Uh,
yeah,
and
I
again,
agree.
like I said, Team now feels like he's part of the story, so that's why he's gotten better than Patty.
Okay. I think I have 2 least favorite characters, and yeah, I would have to agree that, I don't like Lila in the show at all. I actually would have preferred I don't wanna should we kinda do spoilers? Yeah,
Well,
kinda?
we'll do light spoilers, because
Okay.
it is a review of halfway through. I mean, we're not going to get into like, scene 6. There
Oh,
was
okay.
3 red leaves on the road instead of 7. Like we're just light spoilers because we're kind of discussing it.
Yeah. Well, I will at least say that I'm not. There's another character that I liked in the show, but that character is no longer in the show. I'm not going to say who, but I actually like that character, and I wish that character would have stayed
I
in the show.
like the actress.
I like the actor. I like the actress too. I like the character because of you know,
It's a role that she's filled in the past before.
yeah, and it was very familiar to me. So I was like, oh, she's back. You know what I mean? So I did kind of like that.
Yeah. Audrey
Um,
Plaza. Before I forget, then you can continue. She is Puerto Rican, Taino Puerto Rican, Irish, and West African. So she's Puerto
wow.
Rican. That's why she's. So I guess she speaks Spanish.
Yeah, that's probably where that came from. Um, how do you think this show fits into just like the Marvel formula? I feel like this show, out of all the shows or even movies that we've gotten from Marvel, is just completely left field.
I think this show is there only to, um, how do I put it? I guess rebirth the Scarlet Witch, bring the Scarlet Witch back to life.
That would be dope. I'm
I
waiting
think
for
that's the only reason this show is here.
You know what? Like with each episode I watch, I kept thinking that because I kept thinking to myself, what is this for? Where are we going? Are we doing anything with Agatha? Is Scarlet Witch going to come back? Because everybody keeps thinking that Scarlet Witch is going to come back. Nobody thinks that she's dead at this point. Neither do I. But yeah, I kept thinking, like, what is this show for? Especially this long after um, WandaVision, which I heard that we're actually getting a new season. I don't think we're getting a WandaVision show. I think we're getting a Vision show. That's the rumors. I'm not sure if that's really true.
Yeah, I've heard the same rumors.
So, so yeah, I'm just wondering, like, where's this going? Because we got shows before that I felt like were a little. I don't want to say it was a waste, but I just felt like I was wondering where does this fit in the Marvel universe? Where are we going with this? You know, just like what's the one show that we got with the guy who's multiple personalities? I
Moon
can't.
Knight.
Moon Knight. That's one of the shows I was thinking the same thing. Where are we going with this? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that every Marvel show has to connect to the Avengers. I'm not saying that, but I'm just curious. Like, is this going somewhere, or is this just a story that they just want to tell and just be done with it?
Oh well, I think that's a two-part answer. The first part is Moon Knight came under a time when Marvel was going to do a TV universe separate from a movie universe, and they would cross over, but I don't. It's not meant to be like a full-time crossover. You know, like good example is Daredevil showing up in She-Hulk and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, I think this show is literally just a setup for Secret Wars to bring the Scarlet Witch back, so you could pop. And by bringing Scarlet Witch back, you might also bring her kids in there, Wiccan, and I forgot what the other one's called.
I forgot. Yeah, I don't remember. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Let's see who finds it first.
Damn it, Wiccan and Speed.
I was gonna say that too. I was like, "Is it Speed?" No, no, that's too easy. I was literally gonna
Yeah,
say that.
it's Wiccan and Speed. Those I just kind of think it's a setup for that, and possibly to add Wiccan and Speed, if especially if they're going to do a Young Avengers series, or movie, or if the Young Avengers wind up in Secret Wars.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I just kind of think this is a series to set up something. I think this is a series that is a constant reference for the next couple of movies when it comes to Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
Like in Captain America, the first one, they kept referencing things from that movie in other movies and things like that. Like even in She-Hulk, they referenced the Captain America one, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
I
true.
kind of think it's going to be one of those. I don't really think it's going to be anything else.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, right as of right now, I think I would have to take a word out of Leech's book. I would have to say I'm kind of mid on the show right now. Honestly, I do like. the whole yellow brick road thing as they're going, like each episode is one phase as they go through the road to try to get their powers back, so on and so forth. I do like that formula. I just think that everything in between that sometimes just feels like, I don't know, it just doesn't, just something about the show that I'm just not connecting with as much as I thought I was or as much as I
Uh,
wanted to.
my guess, okay, this is my guess. I'm not saying I know a ton of Wiccan anything, but in my past I have dated several Wiccan girls.
Okay.
So the thing about them not wearing shoes on the road, the thing about Wiccans is when they perform any kind of magic, they need to touch the earth. So that's why they have no shoes. So I thought that was cool. Each house they visit is a trial of water.
Yeah.
The trials are the exact same things that the Salem witches went through: trial by fire, trial by water, trial by weight. And I forgot what the other one is. I also like the fact that on every door of every house they go to, there are phases of the moon on there.
Hmm.
So there are certain Wiccan witchy things in it that I enjoy because they added enough of it in for someone who knows about it, even casually knows about it. Goes, hey, I get that reference. Like
Mm,
Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, um, and people who really know about it can feel like their religion is being respected because it's not going into hokiness and stuff like that.
yeah. Okay. Maybe that's why, because there are some times where, like you said, I do see those references, and I don't know those references. Like I see the moon on the door, and I'm like, what does that mean?
Well,
I don't know what that means. You know.
for Wiccans, each phase of the moon does something different depending on your spell or your coven and things like that. The best thing to do is go to Wikipedia, read the Salem witch trials. It's a 5-minute read, and you have a better grasp on what's going on.
Okay.
Or you
Okay.
can go to Wikipedia and go, Wiccan religion and do a 5-minute read, and you have a good idea. I mean, you just need to know about it very much on the surface. And you're like, hey, I get that reference. Hey, I understand why this is important. You know, and one of the things Wiccans, a lot of spirituality talks about staying on the path. You know, don't veer off the path. At certain points in your life, your path will go right or left, but stay on the road. And I
Yeah.
like the fact that even that's referenced in Agatha, where if you step off the path, you get consumed by the earth or the quicksand and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
So those very light Wiccan or spirituality references I do enjoy because it adds to the story. It doesn't just seem like some random thing. They're not like being Constantine, where like throwing out a potion and waving his hand and like his big glowing disc appears. It feels more like it shows respect to the Wiccan religion and to the history of witchcraft is how I feel. So that because of that, I have that very light understanding. Um, is making me enjoy the show more.
Okay. Interesting. I guess that's probably why I'm surprised, because I was like, I don't think Los is gonna like this at all.
No,
But
I
very
actually,
surprised.
again, a little better than mid.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
watchable. In other words, this is one of those shows where I'll be like, yeah, it was an okay show. It's not like an Obi-Wan where I'm like, oh dear Lord, why did Keith make me watch this? This is one
Everything.
where I'm like, this is decent. This is okay.
I love the way every time we describe a show or we talk about a show, we always reference it to Obi-Wan. Like,
Yeah.
if it's like, is it better than Obi-Wan or is it Obi-Wan?
Yeah. For TV
You
shows, it's Obi-Wan. For movies, it's Eternals.
know? That's like an all, I feel like that is, I think out of all the movies and show that we've ever talked about on this podcast, we've mentioned those movies. I mean, that movie and that show more than anything.
Yeah.
Literally more than anything.
Yeah.
I
Because
wish I
that's
had
the one solid reference that we both get.
Yeah.
Like, even though you enjoyed Obi-Wan, you were kind of like, well, it disappointed me, you know?
Yeah.
Eternals disappointed us both, but you enjoyed it a little more than I did. I'm not saying you liked the movie. I'm
Yeah.
just saying you enjoyed it a little more than I did.
Just
You know,
yeah. It was
it's
very mid.
it, it's on the bottom rung of the things we've watched.
Yeah.
So that's why it's that. Until there's something worse, it's going to be there.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for something that we can call worse than Obi-Wan or worse than Eternals.
Yeah.
Waiting for it. What's your thoughts on Teen? Who do you think he is?
Oh,
Why
that's
is he here?
100% Agatha's son.
I was thinking the same thing. Thinking the same exact thing the whole
Now,
time.
mind
Like,
you, you know that Agatha sacrificed her son to gain power.
yeah,
She sacrificed her son and her coven to gain power. So I think that that's her son. I think he's come back, and I think that's why he can't mention his name, because if he mentions his name, Agatha's going to try to kill him again.
yep.
And Agatha did it to kill him, and he goes, "If you come back, this is what's going on. I'm gonna protect you,
Mm.
because if I remember, I'm gonna kill you because I want to keep my power."
And you saw that in episode 4, she got emotional because of something that happened to him.
Yeah,
We haven't seen that emotion the entire show. We haven't seen any kind of like sign of her caring for anybody. She's been very selfish.
we
Very
have not
selfish
seen that
episode.
in any episode of any show she's been in.
Yep. It's the first time we saw it. And then when you saw her get emotional, I was like, I wonder.
Yeah,
Wonder if this is baby Agatha here. You know what I mean?
you
Uh,
saw his name referenced in episode 1. His name was on a plaque.
what?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Hold on. Was it Agatha Darkness, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, when she was in the
Harkness.
office, right?
Yes, there was some kind of award there. Nicholas Scratch. When she was in WandaVision, the bunny she was holding was named Scratch. So even back then, there was a reference to her son.
Hence the word. Hence every time you see him try to talk or say his name, you see his mouth is covered, but it has like a scratch marks on it.
No, no, no. It has, to me, it looks like a signature,
Hmm. Okay,
but it
interesting.
almost looks like a W. So it also kind of makes me think maybe Wanda did it.
I was
And
thinking that too. I was like, if it's not Agatha,
then it's
I mean,
Wanda.
even maybe it's Wanda. I think that's what's holding me, what's keeping me so like intrigued with this show. It's like I want to find out who this guy is. I want to know what happens at the end of the road. It's like I'm waiting to see what happens when they get to when they get to their main trial, and that's what's keeping me intrigued. I want to see what's going to happen. So as of right now, like I said, I'm a little mid on the show. I do like the fact that it gives me, um, geez, what's that witch movie that came
The
out back
craft.
in? Not The Craft, the other one with Sarah Jessica Parker in it. Um, Three
Sorry.
Witches. Three Witches came out like in the 90s. Disney.
Oh, Amok, Amok, Amok.
Yeah. Chat, help
Oh,
me out. What is that?
um,
Hocus Pocus.
yes, Hocus Pocus.
This gives me Hocus Pocus vibes. I felt that before I watched the show, and I 100% feel it even more now. It just definitely gives me like modern day Hocus Pocus vibes.
Really?
Yeah, for
I
some
don't know.
reason.
I don't get that.
You don't
And
get
I
that?
think it's because the Hocus Pocus was more comedy driven, and Agatha is a little more serious.
Yeah.
Like Legion says, Charmed. Charmed I could see.
Oh, Charmed. Yes. I can see that. I actually forgot about Charmed.
Charmed
I
I
actually
could
forgot about
see.
that.
But
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus, no, only because it's more comedic. That
I
doesn't
feel
mean
like
it's a bad opinion. It's what
yeah.
you see.
I feel like if Charmed and Hocus Pocus had a baby, this is what this feels like to me.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy. We
For
don't
real.
care who got on top. We just know that
Yeah,
that's the analogy.
yeah, that's just this is just what came out.
Exactly.
So yeah, I hope that this leads to obviously it'll lead to us finding out who Tina is. Hopefully they don't pull a thing where it's like, you want to know who Tina is? Watch season 2, which is coming out in like 1 year.
What I
Hope
will say I am most surprised about the show is that the costumes are so good.
surprisingly, I'm actually very surprised at that because it doesn't look like it would be a highly budget show, but you can tell there's some kind of budget there. There's definitely some kind of budget.
And
Um,
the what I like is the road is a physical set. It's not done in the VR wall.
yeah, I actually do like that. I like that there's definitely more practicalness to the show.
Yeah.
I do like that. I think Marvel is learning lessons from or outcry about the CG and visual effects over the past few years. Maybe they are deciding to go more practical.
See,
Hopefully,
I don't think that. I think the lessons are from the Mandalorian because the
Gotcha.
Mandalorian did
Okay.
the VR wall so good
Yeah.
by doing half physical, half VR, and I kind of think it's more lessons from the Mandalorian that has now spilled over into Marvel, in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
remember I remember watching Mandalorian for the first time. I was super late to watching that show, by the way. I remember watching it for the first time, and I was thinking to myself, "Man, has to be the best looking TV show I've ever seen in my life." I felt like I was watching a Star Wars movie, not a Star Wars show. Because before then, like Mandalorian came out around a time I think during COVID, where or like a little after COVID, where streaming was like at its high. Like
Yeah,
all these movies coming out, HBO came out with all these movies that are in theater that's on the streaming service. Like streaming was at its peak
yeah,
around the time Mandalorian came out. And some of it was okay. There wasn't really a lot of quality stuff that was out during that time as far as like visual effects. But Mandalorian, man, oh, like it basically said, listen, we can't go to the movie theaters right now, but you can watch this movie theater quality show right now on Disney Plus. And it blew
absolutely,
my mind. It blew my mind.
absolutely.
So but yeah, like I said, I'm hoping that I hope we get Scarlet Witch back because I kind of miss her a little bit. Um,
Finish your thought, then I got a question.
okay. No, that's pretty much all I was going to say. That I hope we get Scarlet Witch by the end of this show because I would love to see her come back, and I'm anticipating to see where this show leads. I want to see what comes out of this. I feel like we're going to get more out of this than we think by the time this show is over.
Um, I will say the worst part of Agatha all the way is the
Oh
damn musical number. Oh
yeah,
my god, it was so
it's
long.
It's so funny because, we just had an episode. I think we talked about this on a few episodes ago about how every show, especially ones that go on for a long amount of time, always has at least one musical episode. And this one has had like several, and we're only on episode 4.
Yeah,
Several, but you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The last one from episode 4 was kind of dope. Just the song itself was kind of dope. I was like, I kind of like
I
that a little
think
bit.
that the song was okay, but I think the way they shot it and performed it was good.
Yeah,
I'm not,
I don't
bro.
want any more though. I don't want any
I'm
more.
just, but like as a novelty, it's cool. But if you repeat it too much, it's kind of like, yeah, the 50s had the musicals. This is the next century. This is the next millennium. Okay, could we just like ditch the musicals if it's not a novelty
Yeah.
thing?
I agree. I agree. Like I said, I felt like it's I think the first time we got it, all right, wasn't expecting that, but okay, you did it. You got it out the way. You got it out your system. Let's go on the yellow brick road now. Episode 4 is like, all right, let's sing again. Why?
And I
you know?
understand it was necessary for the story, and that's great. It was absolutely great that it was part of the story, but it was just just you would have cut out 30 seconds of it, 45 seconds of it. I'd have been okay with it.
It did go on long. I felt like that scene that it happened in. I felt like I was doing something when I was watching it, and what I was doing, it felt like I was doing it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, man, this song is still on. like, I was like, wait a minute, how much time has passed? I feel like I've been doing what I was doing for about 10 minutes, and that scene just kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that we don't get too much of that. I think we have like 5 more episodes to go because it's 9 episodes. I hope we don't get more of that. I think they kind of the singing kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit. I think we can move on from that a little bit.
Or if you sing, keep it short.
Keep it short. Yeah, just like a really quick. You know what? They're probably going to sing again because when they get to the end of the road, they're going to have to do some kind of seance, some kind of spell. They got to sing it. They got to harmonize it. They're probably going to do it again. But if they do, let it be at the end of the season. I don't need the next 4 or 5 episodes to be
La
a
la la la
song.
la 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 la. And we don't care.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. All right. So far, halfway through the season, how many chocolate bunnies would you give Agatha all along?
A three.
Not bad.
A three.
Mid-ish.
Yes. 2.5 is guaranteed middle of the road.
Okay.
Three is a little better than middle of the road, but not quite good enough to be more than that. So for three.
Okay.
is what I would give it. But that can go up or down depending on the next bunch of episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely gonna just let you guys know we're gonna do another review once the season is completely over, just to give our final thoughts on it and take it from there, and we'll see what happens.
As
Um,
always, we have a two-step review process for the shows we watch.
of course, always. I feel like it works better because I know we started off with doing like every episode, but I felt like that became a little draining. You know
Well,
what I
no,
mean?
no, no. It was draining because you hated She-Hulk. It was
That's when
draining
we
because
stopped doing it.
it was draining because I hated Obi-Wan. You
Yeah.
know, and this way we can kind of watch it, even if it's, 10 minutes a day for a week, or 2 weeks, until we're ready to review it. I do think this works better because it's kind of like our initial thoughts and our final thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works. Plus, it gives it time for things to marinate, and you kind of think about it a little bit. Because sometimes, if I watch an episode right before the podcast, talk about that episode immediately, I have certain thoughts on it, but then by the end of the season, my thoughts might change. Because I have 4 other episodes that crammed in there within the past few weeks, it might change the way I think about it. So
Not only that, we can see if our predictions, how close, if they came true or not.
that's true. That's true. Actually, a good idea. But my thoughts, well, my review for Agatha, I would have to say for me is definitely mid. It's 2.5 so
Okay.
far. 2.5. I'm hanging in there.
Watchable, but you can hit the pause button.
Yeah. Yeah, watchable, but you can never hit the pause button. And I think only because some of the references that you talked about before, a lot of them go over my head. So as somebody who doesn't know a lot about, you know, um, a lot of the references from that culture, a lot of it probably will go over your head. Honestly,
Mhm.
this is definitely not your typical Marvel show. This is like there's not like you know crazy powers and Captain America is not flying in and Vision is not in this episode or in that episode. Daredevil's not kicking butt or anything like that. This is definitely not your typical Marvel TV show, which I actually kind of like because that's one of the reasons why I kind of fell in love with WandaVision because it wasn't your typical Marvel show, which is what I really liked about it. It's something different. So if you haven't watched it yet, I would definitely say go in this with tempering your expectations. Don't have any expectations on honestly going to this. Just go into this, just trying to enjoy it for what it is. And you might have some things that might go over your head that you might have to read or reference on like YouTube or something like that. But I still think it's a good watch. I still think it's a good watch.
Yeah. You know what? There's probably a 5 minute or 10 minute YouTube video on Wiccans that you could probably watch and get all the very light references that Agatha is doing.
Yeah.
I just think, we're not at the stream it or flick it thing, but you could watch 2 episodes back to back. I mean, you could choose to watch it every other week and be like, okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Not great, but not bad.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, we'll see. We got 5 more episodes to go, and like I said, after the ninth episode, we'll definitely do our season review as a total of Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
Um, Los, do you have any recommendations for the beautiful people out here before we go?
Yes, I do. For all the lovers of house music, okay, go on SoundCloud, look for DJ Oscar G, and you want to listen to his set at Musica, New York City, April 2024. Really good set. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes. If you like house music, you'll like this set.
Interesting. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I
I
actually don't
do
have
have
any.
another one, though.
Oh, go for it. I guess I'll just share that one with you then because I don't have one for today.
Okay, so then this is KJ's recommendation. KJ says you should sign up for the Affinity Creative Suite where you can get 6 months for free. So you now have Adobe alternatives for editing images and
Really?
doing layouts for like magazines and flyers and things like that.
Is this on iPad as well? I feel like I
iPad
heard
and
about this.
iOS. When you
Really?
sign up for the trial, you get the iOS and Mac OS and Android OS, I believe,
Okay.
all for 6 months for free.
Interesting. Okay, I like that. I might have to check that out. That's interesting because
It's
I
worth
feel
it,
like
dude. Oh my
I
god,
feel
it
like
is
I
so
heard
worth it.
about that.
Remember we've talked about Photoshop alternatives, and I told you I've
Yeah,
been using Affinity, and Affinity one's pretty good. You know, it's not. I mean, there are certain things that are odd about it and stuff like that, but Affinity 2 is really a lot more refined, and
really.
yeah, it's worth it. You know, and I think the software is like $65, and that's it. There's no licensing, there's no monthly fees, none of that crap. You buy it once, pay for it once, and you got it.
Legion in chat did say that I could talk about the Yuka app. That's actually is a good recommendation. I forgot about that. There is this app called Yuka. I believe it should be on all the phones basically. Where if you use, let's say you go into Walmart and there's this lotion there and you want to see the ingredients that are
It's
in there.
always about the lotion.
It's always or the baby oil.
Oh God, please, no more talk about baby. Yo, we got to dedicate when that case is closer to being done. We need to dedicate an episode just to that mess.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
And random side note, granted, this is still kind of part of pop culture because Diddy makes music.
yeah.
Um, man, over what was it, 1,000 bottles of baby
A
oil?
1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Who needs that much baby oil? I don't care if you're running a underground sex business. Nobody needs that many
He
needs that much
was.
baby oil. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't care if you are running that. Nobody needs 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You don't need that much. That's ridiculous. I don't even think Costco's has 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Costco, listen to me. I'm going to say this, and we're going to, I guess, quickly move on from this.
Okay.
In his defense, Diddy's lawyer says, "Oh, he bought them at Costco. That's why there's 1,000." And Costco goes, "We don't sell baby oil."
Wow. Well, no, he went to the Costco in New Jersey, not the one over here. Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yuka. So let's say you go into a store and you want to know if this bottle of baby oil has ingredients that are not harmful for you. You literally scan the bottle. You scan the barcode on the back of that baby oil, and it'll give you a rating, 1 to
And then
100.
Bettina
100
pops up behind you going, "Take that, take that, take that." Sorry.
Oh no, no,
Sorry, I
that's
couldn't help it. I
crazy.
couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm being so rude. I'm so sorry.
If it's bad for you, a little emoji will pop up in the bottom of the screen. I'll say "bad boy." If it's bad for you, sorry, this is really bad. I'm sorry. It's just too early, too early. Uh, yeah, same thing for food. So whether it's like products for your body, food products, you can scan it basically, and it gives you a rating system of 1 to 100. 100 being the highest, 50 being like mid, as Legion would say. We're just gonna start using mid for everything now. Um, it'll let you know basically if it's good for you or if it's bad for you, and if it's bad for you, it'll tell you what ingredients in that particular thing is bad for you, what ingredients are good for you, so on and so forth. I use that app every day. I've been using it for probably about 2 years now. I've been using it for a while. But yeah, check it out. You can use it pretty much for anything. There's a free version of it. The paid version allows you to actually search certain products. Other than that, you can pretty much just you can scan a barcode for anything that you eat or anything that you buy in the store that's for your body or for your hair or so on and so forth. It definitely helped me out, especially now that things have been coming out with certain things in food and products that are just bad for you. Everything causes cancer, so on and so forth. It definitely works out well. So yeah, check it out. Yuka. I believe it's on iOS and Android, I believe. So
Yeah. When you first said yuca, I looked at you funny because yuca is the Spanish word for cassava.
Casaba.
That's the English word for it. When you're like, "Go get yuca," and I'm like, You eat yuca?"
you,
I was like,
you
wow,
want you want to get
the man's got a varied palate.
Oh man. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Thanks, Legion, once again for reminding me because he did remind me in Discord to talk about that. But yeah, guys, that's our show. Once again, appreciate everybody for hanging out. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support us, check out our geez, I almost forgot for 2 seconds what it was called. Patreon. Check out our Patreon, guys. I'll get ahead, Los.
It's coffee.
Yeah, I need coffee. So in the Patreon will definitely help me and Los with a cup of coffee, which is with as little as $1 a month. You guys can check us out and support us on patreon.com. The link is in our description below. Also, just don't forget, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, keep in contact with us. You guys can get notified anytime we go live or post new videos. And we don't promote it that much, but check out our Discord. We should have that in the description as well. Or if you're watching live, exclamation point Discord, exclamation point Patreon. And yeah, guys, that is a show. Thank you guys. We love you. Always here for you. Los, do you want to leave a amazing outro for the people? Since you did an amazing intro.
I don't really not have that great of an outro because I did an intro, but I agree with you, Legion. If you help join Patreon, then you can get KJ wearing sexy shirts again.
Man, could you imagine me in the old folks' home on a JHouze radio episode when I'm sitting there wearing my sexy uniform in the old folks' home? You know what I'm saying? Talking about hit them 1,000, once we get to 1,000 subscribers,
Or
y'all.
even better, you're down the hallway sounding like a southern Barry White going, "Hey, mama, how you doing?"
Hey, mama, you want to see KJ in this sexy outfit right here? Hit that like button right there now. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I see you hitting it. Make sure you share it too, because I'll wear the hat if you share it. You know what I'm saying? And that is a wrap, guys.
You say I'm bad.
That is a wrap, guys. That is another episode of JHouze Radio, episode 104. I love you. I'm out. We're out.
Later.
Later.